Hey everybody, welcome back to Kumasao Reviews. We're taking a look at a really good one from Sentinel. It's the Riobot line. This is Tekkaman Blade. So, big fan of Tekkaman Blade, whether it be the anime, whether it be the design. I love it. So, a lot of bias there, but this, thankfully, turned out to be a very good toy. So, of course, it comes with Tekkaman himself. He measures, if you want to go to the tip of its antenna, 6 3/4 inches, but his head is 6 1/4. So, however you want to do that. Now, one thing I will say, the antenna, it comes in two pieces for each side. So there's a back piece as well as a front piece, and you have to peg those in yourself. Not very hard, but make sure to look on the inside of those, and they have L and R for the corresponding sides. Showing what the rest of the box contains. It's a little bit dark. See if we can get some light on that. Alright, so you see the stand over on the left, but he's got his blades, a variety of hands. There's a piece that shoots from a shield, as well as the connection piece. An alternate back piece, because his back butt skirt, comes off, becomes a shield, as well as a variety of handle pieces for the blade. So we'll take a look at all of that. It's a pretty straightforward figure. Get this back. Lower this down. Get him recentered here. Alright, now it's time for a roundabout. What I like about this is that it has just the right amount of detailing. I like updated figures to really show off all that they can, but at times, as I'm sure you guys have seen too, get them more straight up in terms of just posture and the like, sometimes companies can go overboard, trying to give them way too much of a new look. This, though, looks like it just stepped out. I wouldn't say the anime necessarily, but a really nice piece of art right onto your shelf, and it's a solid figure too. So just taking a look at him really quick, and the details again, 6 1/4, 6 3/4. All right, and in case I forget, it does have these pieces as well in the shoulders, the missile pieces. All right. So looking at the head itself is on a ball joint. I recommend popping it off when you're inserting the antennas on the side. It made it a lot easier for me personally. So you've got the 360 movement there. And then this is on another ball joint, it looks like. I haven't popped that out or anything like that, but you can see you have more movement there. So lots of downward, lots of upward, that kind of deal. The shoulder pads have some up and down movement, which is nice, but not a lot. Especially since this is filled out underneath, you don't get a lot of outward swing. Not bad, but could be better if it either swung more up or they just left this hollow on the inside. But I do like the detailing on it, so I'm torn. The full 360 there. Now there is bicep swivel there. Okay. Double jointed elbows. Now from what I'm seeing, this looks to be pretty much a plastic piece, which I don't have a problem with. It'd be nice if it had a little bit more heft to it, but you know, it's good for what it is. Nice firm joints and things like that. I dig it. Now the forearms themselves, they do have rotation there. See that? 360. But the problem is it catches and then it kind of starts intermingling with the bicep swivel there. So you got to watch that, but just to position those differently, because like when you have the shield on, if you want it to the side instead of the back of the forearm, there you go. The wrists, they're just straight up ball joints. No rocking in the ball joint or anything like that, but it's extended out, so you do still get that rock always in the wrist And of course, 360. Now the waist, great amount of back bend, ab crunch, all right? And that's just the top one. So that's a connection point. And then there's not really side swivel in that. It's just a back and forth. But where the waist actually meets the crotch, that's where you get some side swivel. And then a bit more back and forth in itself. More back than forth, but that's total ab crunch. You can see it kind of stops there, but back, again, way back. Now let's look at the swivel. I don't even think that's 45 degrees each way. It's not horrible, but the problem is the waist itself meets this crotch plate, and there's no real way to avoid that. Like, there's no way of getting it above or anything like that. It just plain stops. So make sure that you don't try to go further or anything like that. It'd be great if you could, by all means, but you can't. So that's the one area of this where I'm a bit let down. Okay, so this just plain comes off. That became unpegged or whatever, so we'll look at that in a second. But there's movement in there, and it even extends outwards. So it became unpegged there. All right. Front swing. Back swing. There is rotation on the thighs, but because of how they're shaped, you can see it kind of goes like this weird angle. The hips, they aren't drop hits, but there's an extension there too. So if you need to go a little bit farther, you can, but that's how that works. It just extends out from there. It's neat. It's different. All right, so there's one knee bend. It is double jointed. All right, so boom. And I just knocked the back plate off. Gotta love it. Let's take a look at the feet. Back, forth. The toes, the front, goes back and forth. See if there's any kind of extension there. Yes, there is. Then boom, boom. Make sure you guys can see that on camera. Get that back. And then it's pretty limited because of these two pieces. Okay. So that's that in terms of articulation. All right, let's take a look at the accessories. Let's get them into some poses and things like that. All right, so we'll start with the shield. And by the way, that fin that broke off there, it didn't break off. It just unpegged. Just pegged it right back in. So this piece right here comes off. Let's get that taken off. Holds on pretty tight. And then, let's see if I can zoom in here. See that square on the back? And you can do either arm. That's fine. But, boom. And what's nice is that you can still rotate in and out. Okay. Now, this piece pegs on. Honestly, I wouldn't necessarily call it loose, but it's not tight to the point where I trust it. I personally don't display my figures with their backs turned, so I'm just gonna take this piece off. That's how I'll be displaying it when I use the shield. So can't see it, doesn't matter, but it makes sure that I don't lose an accessory. And plus there's something I want to show you guys when it comes to the stand as well. Okay, so there's that. Now, we'll go ahead and first we'll take a look at the blades. And it doesn't matter if you place them in the hands first or not. In my experience so far, the hands peg in and out pretty easy. Normally I put the hands on first, and then any weapons like, say, metal builds and things like that where it's a little bit more tough to get them on, but this is fine. Then 2. And again, these ball joints are extended, his wrist, so just make sure you peg him in all the way. It's a little bit deep. Alright, so there he is, holding the blades separately. And that's why I said peg him in deep. So that's on me. There we go. So, as you can see, something to be mindful of. Extend that. I do wish its waist rotated a little bit more. Alright, so there's that. Let's take a look at the dual handle. If I can find where I put that piece, there it is. Take them both out. Oh, and there's butterfly as well. Almost forgot that. Put it through one hand, and I'll try putting it through another hand. Would help if I took the old handles off first. And they're a tight fit, but still easy enough to get off with one hand, as you can see. Alright. See what we got going on here. Boom. Make sure he's lit. Take the shoulders up some. Cinch him in that much more. And I gotta say, he does balance pretty well, all things considered. And that's the nice part about him being a plastic piece. Die cast, it makes certain parts heavy and this and that. It's just a lot more when it comes to the engineering, so I'm gonna bring the camera way up. I actually like the look of that. There's that. Okay, and I've got him shooting his projectile from that shield piece. You can see it over here if I want to change the focus more on that. As you can see. All right. Focus back towards the figure. Now for the stand. By default, it comes with the generic Sentinel clamps. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know how well it goes on its waist or not. I'll check in a second. But my preferred method is actually there's a screw hole that also has a peg for you to peg that that cover that I showed you guys earlier. And it's a pretty good fit for the piece that clamp goes into. So, give you guys some light there. See how that works? And it just gives you some more variety. You don't have a stand or a clamp hanging out on his waist and stuff like that. But, for the sake of it, let's look at how well that works. And I will say, keep a screwdriver handy, because these stands aren't the tightest by default, but just a small Phillips head, so. Alright, let's see. I mean, even there, it holds fine. So either way, however you want to do it. But I do kind of like that look to where the stand's hidden. That's just me. So a comparison for you guys here. We've got the Bandai, I believe this is SPC, the Armor Plus. This is the metallic version. There's also a regular colored version as well. This is the just plain SPC, the one that comes with Pegasus, as well as the Riobot here. So, in terms of favorites, definitely going to be this guy now. For years and years, this was actually my favorite Tekkaman Blade figure. This guy's awesome, but Armor Plus figures in general, Armor seems to not really like to stay on. The frames have weak joints, in my opinion, that are, it's only exasperated or exaggerated. I don't know what the word is off the top of my head, but by the die cast outer frame, which is nice, but it's kind of like what I was saying with this guy. Not only does it weigh down the joints and stuff like that, but fact is, it's armor. So it's not even like a solid piece. This is literally like this forearm armor right there, you know, even right there. His shoulder's starting to fall down and things like that. They're just not solid. They're not fun. And they look like this thing is a beautiful display. But at the same time, holy crap. Even trying to pose it for this was a chore. So if you buy one, don't pay anything more than what the old retail was, even I think around like $100, $120. It's not worth a penny more. And honestly, once you get it on the display, you're not going to want to do anything else with it because it's a son of a bitch to do anything with. In fact, the only reason this came off the shelf for this review is because it didn't come off the shelf. I'm still unpacking at the new house, and I went and found the box, unwrapped them, and right from here to the shelf. But yeah, there's a comparison of the three. Let's look at the sizes. So we already know he's 6 3/4 inches tall. All right, these are non-scale. They're super robots, but this is about a half-inch taller. There you go. So I don't know if that was my fault or not, but you see right there. Okay, we're not gonna pretend anything. I already warned you about this toy, but I've got about, standing straight up, 7 3/4 inches tall, and then the little guy, SPC, my second favorite, and he's honestly still close to being my favorite. This piece is extremely posable, just plain fun. In fact, I would call the Riobot a large version of this, and that's why it's my favorite. So, he is around 5 inches tall, just under. But even with this, I know we're not reviewing this toy. I don't know if I have reviewed it or not. It's been years and years. I think it was like 2013 I got this guy, but then you have to hold this and hope that you got it up far enough for this to go on. And then the ball joint is very small. Yeah, this is just Armor Plus, man. That's what you get. You don't get what you pay for with that guy, but it is what it is. But anyway, there's a comparison of the 3 Tekkaman Blade toys that I have. If you're looking for like the best Tekkaman Blade toy of all time, obviously I'm not a connoisseur or anything like that, so look elsewhere for that, but he's definitely the best that I own. Okay, and here he is next to Sentinel's Riobot Oregon. This is from back when Riobot products were still numbered, like numbers R1 through 15 or 16 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what one he is, but there's a size difference there. He is, even with the antennas, around 6 inches tall, and obviously he's 6 3/4. But for years, there have been just parallels that people have made between Tekkaman Blade and Detonator Oregon. I don't really see it in terms of design, but, you know, I'm not saying they're wrong. So many people have said it that I feel like I'm missing something. You know, so if you guys are watching this and can kind of point that out to me, I'd actually appreciate the knowledge and, you know, learning or whatever. But yeah, I just want to show them side by side because as soon as I posted a picture of this guy in some of the mecha groups that I'm in, people said, oh, he'll look so good next to Oregon. So there you go. Hopefully you still think that. And closing this out, again, this has been Sentinel's Tekkaman Blade. It's under their Riobot line. 6 1/4 inches tall to the antenna. Plastic piece. well engineered, fun to play with, solid in terms of just build, joint quality, etc. They're outside of, honestly, the waist not turning as much as I'd wanted to. It's all kinds of discombobulated right now. I don't like that. But just in terms of the waist, I mean, that's the one complaint that I have. And I don't know how much it matters, but these pieces do move. I just noticed that before I started filming that part. But overall, it's solid. And it's nice, you know. I have a lot of Sentinel products. I'm sure you guys have noticed from this channel, seeing my collection and things like that. I do. I have a heavy bias towards Sentinel and their products. And for the past, I don't know, I'd say, well, I don't know if it's been like a full year, but for the past bit, I've been a bit let down in terms of their quality and stuff like that. Hell, before this, I did Granzort, and the thing just broke during the middle of the review. So for me, even as a consumer, this is a much needed win in terms of just good faith and stuff like that. Not only that, but it's a fun toy. I almost wish that I buy two of everything, but one's to keep mint in box. It makes me wish that I had a second one of these just to keep as a desk toy instead of in a display shelf and stuff like that, because it's that fun to play with, pose, etc., etc. And speaking of which, I have the gallery done soon enough. Link will be in the description, kumastyle.com. Check out this article, as well as all the rest of my articles, as well as all my other videos. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and I will see you guys next review. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support.